Hello, fifth graders. It's Mr. James. So good to see you, or for you to see me, I guess. I'm not seeing you, which is highly disappointing, but we got to do what we can. We got to keep working hard and moving on. So, hopefully, you've got your sleuth with you again today. We're going to be reading the next article from the sleuth called This is the Place. And we're going to continue looking at exploration and settlement. And we're going to still look at multiple themes and main ideas as we read. Today, our objective is I can analyze the impact of setting on a text. Now, remember, setting is not only the place, but is also the time. So as we're reading today, you got to be thinking about what the setting is and how that setting impacts the text that we're reading. So this is the place is found on page 42. And you can see it right here, and you can follow along with me, or you can follow along in your own text. I can't believe that we finally made it, Father. What an arduous journey. The mountains, the rivers, the buffalo herds, and the weather, I've had enough, exclaimed Rebecca. Indeed, Rebecca, we have endured many hardships. But seeing this great expanse of land and knowing that our pioneer brothers and sisters are here, I feel relieved. Rebecca and her family had traveled for months, along with hundreds of other Mormons, to the Salt Lake Valley. They had no idea that the first Mormon settlement in Nauvoo, Illinois, would not be permanent. Rebecca sighed and wrapped her arms around her twin sisters. At least we are together and no one perished. She looked all around and breathed in a clear, cleansing air. This land seems so peaceful and safe, unlike Nauvoo. I just hope this valley does not bring us the same circumstances. It was so unfair how the people treated us there, Rebecca cried, and abruptly sat down on a rock. We may always feel persecuted, Rebecca. You must understand that. That is why Brigham Young has led us west, far away from other settlements, so that we can worship freely and without human judgment, explained her father. I wonder how Mr. Young knew that this valley would be a safe haven for us, wondered Rebecca. She rose from a rock and squinted at the blazing sun. He is a wise man, a true follower of the faith, and a fearless leader, Rebecca. When he arrived here, Young said. This is the place, drive on, added her father. Rebecca replied, I am thankful, Papa, that we have a new home and a place to practice our religion and a way of life without being ridiculed. Yet I do miss our home back east. I yearn to see my friends and my school. Rebecca's father shook his head and approached Rebecca. I understand, but your school and your friends' families, all of them, thought of you differently because you are Mormon. You're right, Papa, but it's just not fair. How could our countrymen who came to this land to seek religious freedom practice such hypocrisy? Argued Rebecca. Rebecca stomped away, kicking dirt with her tattered boot to release some aggression. She sat down on the back of the wagon to gather her thoughts. Her father pushed a wooden chest out of the way and sat next to her. He wiped Rebecca's hair away from her weary face and prayed. So you can see that this exploration or this journey is a little bit different. It's more about people who are seeking some religious freedom, a place to freely practice their faith, which is Mormonism. So it's a tad bit different than our other explorations, but it also deals with some themes or topics that we've learned about in the past about treating people unfairly because of what they believe or because of who they are. So our questions today are, what is the main reason that Rebecca and her family moved to the Salt Lake Valley, and what hardships did they experience on their journey? How does the family respond to challenges that face them? So this is interesting. They've obviously faced some challenges, and how do they respond? What do they do because of those challenges? And then you're going to write 2 questions you would ask Rebecca about her experiences in Nauvoo. It seems like they had a difficult experience there. And so what 2 questions would you ask her about that experience they had? And then you're going to make your case, and you're going to think about, in what time period does the story take place? Name specific clues from the text that relate to the time period. So when do you think this is happening? This will be sort of a guess based on what you can determine. So there should be things that you can look at in the text and say, I believe the story takes place in blank years or around these years, specifically because, and then name some examples from the text that might support that. For vocabulary, it talks about, we have the word haven, which is a noun, and they talk about it being a safe haven for them. And a haven is a place of safety. It's a place where that they believe they can practice their religious freedom in this case. You might refer to any place where you feel safe as a safe haven for you. For example, the animal shelter served as a safe haven for animals that had been lost or abandoned. It was a place where they could get food and shelter. It was a place where they felt safety. And our next vocabulary word is hypocrisy. Now, in the text, they talk about how, and I'm going to find the exact quote here. They say, "You're right, Papa, but it's just not fair. How could our countrymen who came to this land to seek freedom," meaning the people who came to this country to find freedom, "practice such hypocrisy? So how could they treat them so unfairly when that's the reason they came to this country in the first place?" And so hypocrisy means that, like, how could they do this to them? How could they do exactly what they were getting away from? And hypocrisy is really not following your own rules or not living in a way that you're telling others to live. So you'd call someone doing that a hypocrite, or you would say that they're being hypocritical. And so as Mr. James ran down the hallways, he realized how hypocritical this action was. After he's told kids, don't run in the halls, don't run in the halls, and yet he's running in the halls. That would be hypocritical. He's not following the rules that he has set forth for other people. That's sort of the definition of hypocritical there. Write your own sentence now. And our extended response question says, how does knowing the time period of a story help you better understand the events of a text? So some sentence frames. Knowing the time period of the story helps me understand blank. It should help you understand some things about it. If I didn't know the time period, then blank. Then what would happen when you're reading the text? And also the time period helps me to understand blank. So you need to have a couple examples from the specific text that we have to talk about how time period is important. Understanding setting and time makes you more aware of the text and what the text might look like or feel like. So if you have questions, let us know. Thanks so much for watching and listening, and have a great day.